Hello guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Welcome to Add Maths Plus Maths. I am now going to discuss to you Mathematics Paper 2, Variant 2 of February-March 2020, item numbers 11 to 21. I have previously uploaded a video regarding numbers 1 to 10 of this paper. If you haven't watched yet that video, I will try to put the link on top. Just click that link and watch it after watching and finishing this video. Okay, so let's start with number 11. Number 11 is a question about the topic transformation. And we all know that transformation has 4 basic types. Okay, one is translation, second is rotation, third is reflection, and the fourth is enlargement. Okay, let's see if what kind of transformation do we have here in number 11. So let's start with describing single transformation that maps shape A onto shape B. So if you notice, shape A and shape B are here. And you will notice that the corresponding points, for example, this point and this point are disoriented. This point and this point are really disoriented. Okay? If the points are a little bit disoriented, then it will come to your mind immediately that it is a rotation. And when we are trying to describe a rotation, we have to give or write down the center of rotation, the movement, is it anti-clockwise or clockwise, the angle of the movement, okay, and of course declare that it is a rotation. Okay? And when you are trying to do it in your paper, when you are doing your IGCSE exam, you will be given a tracing paper for this. Okay? Suddenly, I cannot show you how to use the tracing paper on this question. However, I have prepared a recall on how to use your tracing paper. Okay, an example is this one. So I have a figure, a rectangle. Okay, I am going to put in a tracing paper. Then I'm going to trace the figure. If the center of rotation is that one with an X, then I can immediately rotate it, okay, and place it wherever I want it to be placed. Okay, so there. So that is how we use tracing paper over here. Tracing paper can also identify what will be the center of rotation, okay, by doing trial and error. But of course, okay, I cannot show it to you this time, so I will just put in the center of rotation over here, which is this point. Okay. Now, after finding the center of rotation, I am going to put the points, or at least one pair of corresponding points on the two figures. Let's say this point and this point. And then I will try to connect those 2 points with the center of rotation. Okay. You will notice that the movement that we have is 180. And if you have a 180 degrees, you should not be declaring anymore if it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. So no need to write if it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. Thus, okay, if I want to describe fully the transformation that maps shape A onto shape B, I will just declare that it is a rotation of how many degrees? 180 at what center of rotation? -1, -1. So it's very important to declare it's a rotation, declare the degrees of movement, and declare the center of rotation. If it is not 180, you have to declare if it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay? Next, let's go to letter B. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A to shape C. Okay? So shape A is here and shape C is over here. Okay? You will notice that corresponding points, okay? So it's just like the opposite. This corresponding point, opposite. This corresponding point, opposite. This corresponding point, opposite. Okay? It will give you immediately an idea that it is a reflection. And when we are describing reflection, we have to write first what is the reflection line or the mirror line. Okay? And when we try to take a look at the mirror line, I can immediately say that this will be the mirror line. Okay? Why? Take a look at this. 1, 2. 1, 2. So they have an equal distance. The corresponding points have an equal distance to that line. This one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Corresponding to this, I will count 1, 2, 3, and 4. Therefore, I have my mirror line. And what is the equation of this line? You will see that if x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1. If x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2. Okay? Does it sound familiar? Yes, it is y equals x. So that's the equation of the mirror line. Therefore, we are able to come up with a description, but of course you have to declare that it is a reflection at what mirror line? Y equals to x. There. So it is a reflection at y equals x. Okay, next. Letter C. Shape A unto shape D. Okay. How about shape A unto shape D? You will notice that shape A is bigger than shape D. Anyway, shape A is the original one. It becomes smaller. Okay? Definitely, the scale factor for this one will be something like, you will see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 units, then it suddenly become 1 and 2. So, from 4 to 2, it was multiplied by 1/2. Okay? So, we know already that the scale factor is 1/2. But what we don't know is the center of enlargement. So, how do we find out the center of enlargement? Okay, it's very easy. Just connect all the corresponding points of the two figures. So, I will just connect there, 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 there. So, you will see now that at this point, okay, is the center of enlargement. What is that point? It is 4, 6. Okay? It's very important to identify the center of enlargement, because if you don't identify that, you will lose 1 mark. Okay? There. So we know already the center of enlargement and we know already the scale factor. Okay? The only thing that is left to be done is to write your answer, and also please declare that the transformation is an enlargement. Okay, so it is an enlargement at 4, 6 with a scale factor of 1/2. Again, why is it 1/2? Because if you try to count, okay, units here 1, 2, but suddenly becomes 1. So 2, if you multiply by 1/2, will become 1. Okay, next, let's go to number 12. Question number 12 is a 3 marks question. Okay, the population of a town decreases exponentially at a rate of 1.7% per year. The population now is 250,000. Calculate the population at the end of 5 years. Give your answer correct to the nearest 100. Okay. Always remember, when we are dealing with decrease exponentially or exponential decrease, okay, we are using this kind of formula. Future population will be equivalent to the original population times the quantity of 1 minus, this is the rate, over 100 to the power of the time in years. Okay, time in years. So I have 5 years, then the rate is 1.7, and then the original population is 250,000. Okay, so if I will do this in my calculator, I will get 229,460.3215. But remember, there is a statement that says, give your answer correct to the nearest 100. So I should give my answer correct to the nearest 100. The hundreds here is 4, followed by 6. So I have to round it off to become 500. So the final answer here is 229,500. There. Okay? As easy as that, you will get 3 marks. Now, let's move on to question number 13. Question number 13 says, write the recurring decimal 0.26 where 6 is repeating as a fraction. You must show all your working. In working with this kind of question, recurring decimal, okay, you have to represent x will be equal to 0.26 where 6 is recurring. Okay. After that, represent 100x is equivalent to, let's just move the decimal place twice because it's already multiplied by 100. Okay. So if I multiply both sides by 100, 100x is equal now to 26.6666 and so on. Okay. And of course, I will also try to multiply it by 10. Okay. So if I will multiply it by 10, 10x is equivalent to 2.666 and so on. Okay. If I want to subtract, okay, I can immediately cancel out the 0.666 and so on. And then if I will subtract 100x minus 10x will give me 90x. 26 minus 2 will give me 24. So I have 90x is equal to 24. I'll just basically wanting to find the value of x because as we all know, I have represented x to become 0.26666 and so on. Okay? So x now is equal to 24 over 90. Okay? The only problem here is, of course, you must at least simplify your answer. So 24 and 90 can be divided by 2, can be divided by 3, can be divided by, is it 4 possible? No. Okay. So if I will try to simplify this, I will come up with 4 over 15 because I have divided this by 6 there. So our answer here is 4 over 15. Okay. Mr. Mars, if I write my answer as 24 over 90, will I be given a deduction? No. Okay. Because it didn't specify anyway that you will write your answer in simplest form. Okay. Next. Let's move on to number 14. The box and whisker plot. It's very famous that, or you're familiar already with the parts of a box and whisker plot. The left part is what you call the lowest score. The right part is what you call the highest score. Okay? And inside the box, or the box itself, the lower part is what you call the middle part is what you call the median. The lower part is what you call the lower quartile. The higher part, or the right part of the box, will be called the upper quartile. Okay? So immediately, okay, you can see here, this is the median. Question letter A is asking for the median. Median is in between 11 and 2. Therefore, our answer is 11 and 12. So therefore, our answer is 11.5. Okay? Next question. Find the range. Remember, when we say range, it is highest score minus lowest score. Okay? Highest score is 14. Lowest score is 2. Therefore, I have 14 minus 2. My answer is 12. Next, how about interquartile range? Interquartile is always upper quartile minus lower quartile. So upper quartile is 13.5, and then lower quartile is 5. So 13.5 minus 5, your answer will be 8.5. Okay? Next, let's move on to question number 15. This is a figure with a lot of theorems about circles, and I will try to show you some recall about this one. Okay, so you see the given is A, B, C, and D lie on the circle. PCQ is a tangent to the circle at C. Angle ACQ is equivalent to 64 degrees. Work out angle ABC, giving reasons for your answer. So we have to try to find out what is angle ABC. Where is angle ABC? Angle ABC. So this is the angle that we are looking for. Okay? Now, let's try to recall some concepts. Okay. One concept that you need to recall for this one is the alternate segment theorem. Okay. Alternate segment theorem is meaning if I have an angle, okay, if I have a tangent forming an angle with another segment, okay, or another chord, okay, I'll have an angle. The opening arc is AB. If the opening arc is AB, and then I have another angle on the circle which opens also with arc AB, then P and Q, angle P and angle Q are equivalent or congruent. Okay, meaning they have the same measure. So in this case, this angle ACQ, okay, opens at arc AC. I repeat, angle ACQ, which is 64 degrees, opens at arc AC. Okay, since it opens to arc AC, I am going to look for an angle that opens also with arc AC that is on the circle. That is angle ADC. So you will notice that this angle opens exactly the same as arc AC. So meaning angle ADC is equivalent also to 64 degrees because of alternate segment theorem. Okay? Next thing to recall is opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral is equal to 180. What do you mean by cyclic quadrilateral? Cyclic quadrilateral is a quadrilateral or a four-sided polygon wherein all the points are on the circle. Okay, they should be on the circle. Okay, next, what is good about cyclic quadrilateral? The opposite angles, when you add them, for example here, angle A and angle C, when you add them, it is equivalent to 180. Angle D and angle B, when you add them, it is equivalent to 180. So, if angle ADC is 64 degrees, we can already find out what is angle ABC by subtracting 180 and 64. Okay, so 180 minus 64, angle ABC then is equal to 116. Okay, it's very basic. What are your reasons? You will just try to write down the theorem that you have used, which are alternate segment theorem and opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilaterals or quadrilateral sums up to 180. Finish, you will get 3 marks. Okay, let's move on to question number 16. Question number 16 is a simultaneous equation between a line and a curve. Okay, how did I say line and curve? Okay, if you don't have an index with the x and the y, it is basically a line. If you have indices with the x and the y, then for sure you can say it's already a curve, or you can say it's a linear equation and a non-linear equation. If you want to watch more videos about simultaneous equation, I can put the link of about simultaneous equation. I have created a video about this. Just watch the video about simultaneous equation. Okay, let's try to do this one. You know that x is equivalent to 7 minus 3y. So, I can change the x here with 7 minus 3y on the second equation in order for me to just put the two equations together. Okay? So, 7 minus 3y squared minus y squared is equal to 39. Okay? If you want to recall your square of a binomial, because in here, I have to apply that. Okay, so if I will apply that and I will try to expand 7 minus 3y squared, it will become 7 squared is 49, 7 times negative 3 is 21, 21 times 2 is negative 42. Then, negative 3y squared is equal to positive 9y squared, minus y squared is equal to 39. Just copy down. Okay, next, you have to simplify and equate it to 0. So, I have 8y squared minus 42y plus 49 minus 39. Okay, I still was not able to simplify 49 minus 39, so I need to simplify that. So, simplify, it will become 8y squared minus 42y plus 10 is equal to 0. Okay, you will notice that all of them can still be divided just to simplify your quadratic. Okay, I will divide by 2. Okay, so it will become 4y squared minus 21y plus 5 is equal to 0. Then, of course, there are 3 ways on how to solve this one. I can use quadratic formula, I can use factoring, or I can use completing the square. But the easiest way to check is you can use your calculator and try to see if it can be factorized. So, if I will use my calculator, I will have y minus 5 and 4y minus 1. Okay? Therefore, I will be given with the solutions. First value of y is equal to 5 and the second value of y is equal to 1 over 4. Okay? What's left that we need to solve? It's the values of the x. Okay? But of course, it should be corresponding to the values of the y. So, if your y is 5, then I will just change this y to 5 to find out the value of the x. Okay? So, if your y is 1 over 4, I'll just change the y here with 1 over 4. So, the first value of x is equivalent to negative 8, and the second value of x is equal to 25 over 4. So, those are your answers. X sub 1 is negative 8, y sub 1 is 5, x sub 2 is 25 over 4, and y sub 2 is equal to 1 over 4. Okay? You see, it's a little bit long, but you see the number of marks. Okay? So, it's very important for you to know more about this kind of problem so that you could be able to get 6 marks. Okay, next. Let's go to number 17. A is the point 3, 5 and B is the point 1, negative 7. Find the equation of the line perpendicular to AB that passes through the point A. Give your answer in the form y is equal to mx plus c. Okay. This will be a little bit long, okay, because I'm going to discuss some basic things about perpendicular lines. Okay, but always remember, okay, that perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect to form right angles. So if I have a figure here, okay, I tried to draw the figure AB already. Okay, actually this is not part of the paper or the question paper. I just try to draw, okay, and put according to the coordinates that I have. So 1, negative 7 should be lower than A, 3, 5. Okay, but 3, 5 should be on the right. Okay, next. Okay, so following the description or the definition of perpendicular lines, I can draw that line perpendicular to AB that passes through point A. So take note, it should pass through point A. So you draw the line that passes through point A, then it should create or form a right angle, okay, because it should be perpendicular lines. Okay, next. If they are perpendicular lines, gradients of perpendicular lines, if you multiply the two, gradient will be equivalent to negative 1. Okay, but of course, you need to find out first what will be the gradient of segment AB. Okay, so what is the gradient of segment AB? Y sub 2 or y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. Okay, so 5 minus negative 7, 3 minus 1. Okay, so you will get 12 over 2, and finally gradient of AB is equal to 6. If gradient of AB is equal to 6, then gradient of AB times the gradient that we are looking for is equal to negative 1. So 6 times m is equal to negative 1. Therefore, the gradient that we are looking for is negative 1 over 6. Okay, now we know that the gradient is negative 1 over 6. But, okay, remember, equation will be completed if you know the C. Okay, and what is C? C is the y-intercept. Since the line passes through point A, we can use its coordinate to find C, or the y-intercept. So we use the coordinate of point A, and point A is 3, 5. Therefore, if it is y equals mx plus c, then y is equal to 5, m is equal to negative 1 over 6, x is equal to 3, then plus c. Then you can finally find out what will be the value of the c. By multiplying 3 and negative 1 over 6 is negative 1/2. Move that negative 1/2 to the right, to the left will be plus 1/2. So 5 plus 1/2 is 11 over 2. Okay? So just plug in, m will be negative 1 over 6. C is 11 over 2. Therefore, the answer here is negative 1 over 6x plus 11 over 2. A total of 4 marks. Okay? Now let's move on to question number 18. A car travels at a constant speed. It travels a distance of 146.2 meters, correct to 1 decimal place. This takes 7 seconds, correct to the nearest second. Calculate the upper bound for the speed of the car. Obviously, this is all about lower bound and upper bound. Okay? But, of course, you need to be very familiarized with some formula, and you should know how to find out the lower bound and upper bound of each of the quantity over here. We have distance correct to 1 decimal place. So if it's correct to 1 decimal place, if I put it in a number line, okay, the one on the left is 146.1. The one on the right will be 146.3. But remember, 146.1 and 146.3 are not the lower bound and upper bound. What are the lower bound and upper bound for this? So this is the lower bound, and this is the upper bound. So what will be the lower bound? Lower bound will be 146.15, and the upper bound will be 146.25 for the distance itself, which is stated with the level of accuracy correct to 1 decimal place. Okay? Next. How about for the time? Okay? The time, the center will be 7 seconds. It says the level of accuracy will be correct to the nearest second. So if it is correct to the nearest second, then one on the left should be 6 and the one on the right will be 8. Okay? So the lower bound and the upper bound will be at the middle of 6 and 7 will be the lower bound. At the middle of 7 and 8 will be the upper bound. So lower bound will be 6.5 and upper bound will be 7.5. So these are just very basic things that you need to understand and you need to know how to do when you are dealing with lower bound and upper bound problems. Okay? But, of course, formulas are very important. So, are you familiar with this? This is actually the something that gives us an idea about the formula for speed, distance, and time. So this tells us, this figure tells us that speed is equal to distance over time. Okay, but it's not as simple as that, because in dividing A by B, lower bound can be calculated by getting the lower bound of A and then divided by the upper bound of B. And upper bound of the result will be getting the upper bound of A divided by the lower bound of the B. In this case, since the question says calculate the upper bound of the speed of the car, since we are calculating for speed, so the upper bound of the speed is equal to the upper bound of the distance divided by the lower bound of the time. And distance upper bound is 146.25. Time lower bound is 6.5. So if we try to divide, we'll get 22.5 as the upper bound of the speed. Therefore, our answer here is 22.5. Okay? So you cannot figure it out if you don't know the formula. You cannot figure it out if you don't know how to find out the lower bound and upper bound of each of the quantity, distance, and time. And you cannot figure it out if you don't know this formula, dividing A by B. Okay? So it's very important to remember the formula, how to find the lower bound and upper bound for each quantity, how to find out the lower bound and upper bound if you are dividing, and then plug in whatever you have, then you can get the answer. Okay? Next, let's move on to question number 19. So number 19 is trigonometry. And we are asked to sketch the graph of y is equal to cosine x. Y equals cosine x is one of the basic trigonometric function or trigonometric equation. Okay? And I will just show you the basic things. Okay? So if we are trying to graph y is equal to sine theta, this will be the graph. It will start at 0, 0, and then it will go up, then go down, okay, passes through the middle, which is 180, and then end up at 360, which is also at x-axis. Okay, if we are trying to graph y is equal to cosine x, which we are about to graph later on, we'll start on top, which is 1, okay, then passes through 90, go down to 180. Okay, you notice that it is supposed to be negative 1 here, then go up, passes through 270, then goes up to 360 on y is equal to 1. So both left and right ends up to y is equal to 1. Okay, and this one, it's not properly labeled, but this is actually the graph of y is equal to tangent x. Okay, if we will encounter some questions about y equals tangent x, I will discuss further what is that, but basically this time we are graphing y is equal to cosine theta or cosine x. Okay, next. So when we are trying to graph that, if you notice a while ago, it starts with 1 on top. Okay, unless if this is negative cosine x, if this is negative cosine x, then we will start below and then go up, okay, the opposite. Okay, but this one is, it start with 1, positive 1, then go down, going to 90. Okay, so that's the first step. Then from 90, going down to negative 1, which is equivalent with 180. Okay, and then afterwards, I'll have this portion goes up, passes through 270, then from 270 it goes up again to 1, which is equivalent to 360 there. So that's the graph of y is equal to cosine x. Okay, we're done with letter A. We'll get 2 marks from doing that. Okay, next let's move on to letter B. Okay, for letter B, it might be useful using my graph. Okay, but you have to be very careful that our graph, this graph, is y equals cosine x. So you have to change this equation a little bit, okay, by putting it like this. So 4 cosine x plus 2 is equal to 3. I'll move the 2 to the right side. It will become 4 cosine x is equal to 1 because 3 minus 2 is 1. Then after that, I'll divide both sides by 4. So cosine x is equal now to 1 over 4. If I want to find out cosine x is equal to 1 over 4, remember a while ago, y is equal to cosine x in this graph. Okay, in this graph, y is equal to cosine x. So since y is equal to cosine x, okay, y now will become equal to 1 over 4. And if I want to draw that y equals over 4, I have to divide this one into 4 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Okay, and 1 over 4 will be over here. Okay, and I'll just draw that line, 1 over 4, okay, which will give me 2 intersection points, this point and this point. Okay, and those 2 intersection points determine actually the values of, if only this is not yet, if only this is not a sketch, or this is not only a sketch, then we can find immediately what will be the values. But since this is just a sketch, okay, we cannot give the exact value, so there will still be a solving that will happen over here. But at least you have an idea already that this is first value, okay, that is the first value of the x, and the second value of the x will be this portion. Okay, now what is the value of this x? How do we find out this one? Okay, cos x is equal now to, just find out the inverse cosine of 1 over 4, because this one, if I move cosine to the right side, it will become inverse cosine of 1 over 4. Now will become an angle, okay, which will give you x sub 1 is equal to 75.5. So this portion is 75.5. Okay, now how about the second portion, or the second value of x? Okay, remember, if this is 75.5, this portion also on the right side will become 75.5. Okay, so since this is also 75.5 and the entire thing until here will be 360, I'll just remove that 75.5, then I can be able to find out the value of the second x, or the value of the x, or the second value of the x, which will be 360 minus 75.5, which is 284.5 degrees. Okay, that's all for this question, letter B. So x sub 1 is equal now to 75.5, and x sub 2 is equal to 284.5. Okay, for letter B, you will get 3 marks. Okay, next, let's move on to letter C, number 20. For question number 20, always remember that if I have a quadratic and suddenly there is a perfect square binomial, or square binomial over here, we have to use completing the square. And these are the two rules for completing the square. If I have x squared plus 2bx, it is equivalent to the quantity of x plus b squared minus b squared. If it is x squared minus 2bx, then I'll have the quantity of x minus b squared minus b squared. Okay, so how do we find out the value of that b? To find out the value of that b, I have to divide 12, okay, by 2. So it will now become x minus 6 squared, then minus 6 squared. Okay, remember that I am only working with x squared minus 12x over here. I am not working with plus a yet. Okay, so if x squared minus 12x is equivalent to x minus 6 squared minus 6 squared, then x minus 6 squared minus 36 is equivalent to x squared minus 12x. And it will give me an idea that this one, okay, plus a is equivalent to this. Okay, so x minus 6 squared minus 36 plus a. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, in this portion, I have copied this one. Okay, this one is equivalent to this, which is this one plus a. Okay, so that's why I put plus a over there. And of course, if this one is equivalent to x plus b squared, then I can equate it from there. So I am just basically using transitive property of equality. Okay, next, it will give me an idea, okay, since this is already a perfect square and the one on the right side is a perfect square, I can just immediately say that b is equal to negative 6. And I want to remove negative 36 plus a from the picture. If I want to remove negative 36 plus a on the picture, then negative 36 plus a should be equal to 0. Okay? So what's the value of the a? A is equal to 36. How? Because negative 36 moved to the right side, it will become positive 36. So a now is equal to 36 and b is equal to negative 6. You'll get 2 marks. Okay, it was just very long because I am trying to explain it. Okay, next, so a is equal to 36 and b is equal to negative 6. Let's move on to the last question. The last question is all about vectors. Okay, so vector xy, okay, is equal to 3a plus 2b. Okay, and vector zy is equal to 6a plus 4b. Okay, I have prepared a drawing over here so that you can better understand what we are trying to put into place, because we are supposed to be writing down two statements about the relationship between these points x, y, and z. Okay, but you cannot build up a relationship without trying to figure out what was really the relationship. So let's try to draw xy. So let's say xy is 3a plus 2b. So if this line, okay, if this vector is 3a plus 2b, let's say that is already xy. Okay? So since this is already xy, you will see that it will become 6a plus 4b when it says zy. Okay? It will end at y. So there should be a line connecting. Okay? And I have to double this up. Okay? So if I will double this up, okay, I can put in now 6a plus 4b. Why? Because 3a, basically 3a plus 3a is 6a. 2b plus 2b is 4b. What is this? This is zy. Okay? So definitely I can put this z over here. Okay? Is that clear enough for you? Okay. So therefore, I can give some conclusion or statements about the relationship between x, y, and z. You will see that z, x, and y falls on the same line. So I can just say that x, y, and z are collinear. Okay, next. Another thing is, what can you say about that point x? Point x might be, okay, actually it's not supposed to be might be, it is definitely the midpoint between z and y. So it's basically midpoint of segment zy. So x is a midpoint of segment zy. We're done. Okay? So if you have any questions, you can please just write. Okay? Write your questions on the comment box below. Thank you and happy learning to everyone. I hope you have learned a lot from this revision. Okay? Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell, okay, for you to be updated with our new videos. Okay? I will try my best to regularly upload revision materials or revision videos so that those of you who are going to take up May June 2020 or 2021 examination can be able to be updated with our new videos in the future before you sit for your May June 2021 IGCSE mathematics exam. Thank you and God bless.